What's up, folks? It is Dr. Remy LeBeau, and I'm coming at you once again from the X-Lair to provide you my very deep, insightful thoughts on the latest episode of The Gifted. This is The Gifted, Season 1, Episode 7. Love the episode. There was a lot going on in it, a lot of different storylines kind of branching off, a lot of character development, definitely not a lot of big movements in terms of like the big story arc that's going on in the background with this Dr. Campbell, but subtle stuff, enough that's like intriguing and is keeping me engaged and wanting more, which is what I want. So I'm looking forward to where that's going to lead. So the episode starts off with this flashback to the moment where Eclipse and Lorna and John first meet, right? And Lorna and John are like recruiting Eclipse into the Mutant Underground. At the time, Eclipse is working for this mob boss, right? And he's reluctant to get out because he's dating the chick and whatever. But the thing what's key about that moment is the mention of the fact that the X-Men are gone. So that is a very interesting statement made by John. What does that mean? Potentially what it could mean is that we are in the Logan reality, which is what I suspected from the beginning, that we are in fact in the Logan reality. And so that's interesting because obviously we know in the Logan reality that things did not go too well for the X-Men. And so when it's mentioned that they're gone, it could mean that they're dead and Professor Xavier killed them. That is something that is a bit problematic for me overall, not necessarily related to the show, but as I mentioned before, like, the end of Days of Future Past was really hopeful, and it really kind of set right the ship of the X-Men world, the X-Men universe. But the unfortunate situations that were implied in Logan, and also the implication that Logan took place after that, it kind of put a damper on it, and so I have mixed feelings about it. But given that Logan was awesome, it's an intriguing sort of reality to kind of play in, and the possibility of this show kind of exists within that reality is of interest. Now, of course, it's not clear. It's not clear-cut. It's not definitive. When they said the X-Men are gone, that could mean a variety of things. It could mean that the X-Men have just also gone underground, or maybe they're presumed dead in the comics. There was a whole period where the X-Men were presumed dead, but they were actually in Australia. And so it's unclear. Obviously, we're going to get more of it because there are subtle hints being dropped here and there. It's not like they just mentioned the X-Men once and that was it in the first episode. No, we keep getting mentions of them. So that has to build to something, and definitely to more revelations and more information. And so I'm staying tuned, and I'm sure you're going to stay tuned, and hopefully eventually we'll get some clear-cut answers as to what exactly has happened to the X-Men, where they are, what reality we're dealing with. And ideally, even though I don't like the idea of Logan taking place after Days of Future Past, ideally it all just kind of like is synced up so that it is one reality, because it should be one reality. There shouldn't be like just multiple realities. Like, if you want to play with like alternate realities, then you can, but you have to be very explicit about it. You can't simply just like start telling stories in a completely different reality and not link it to everything that's come before. Like, that doesn't work for me. I mean, just look at the Marvel universe. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is so interconnected, and it works so fucking well, and it's delicious. Like, you just want more out of the interaction of these characters, and so, because it's all connected, and you know that they coexist in like this broad universe, and so that's what I want from my X-Men as well. If the Marvel and Fox deal doesn't go through, which, by the way, I'm super fucking excited about. This is all up in the air right now as I'm talking. Like, there are rumors that the deal's off, the deal's on. the X-Men could be back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I am so fucking excited about that. But I'm not going to talk about that here. I'll do a video about it eventually, as things progress. Anyway, back to the show. Yeah, so like that was cool, and then of course that kind of led the stuff with Eclipse that led to the present, where now he's working to help this. I forget her name, Martha, not Martha, maybe it's Marta. I don't know. She's Latin. She's powerful. She's a great actress too. She really sells that part. That part could be really cheesy, and she sells it like in a way that it doesn't come off as cheesy, which is great. But there was that whole storyline where Lorna was trying to figure out what's going on with him, and her and Dreamer sort of figure out what's going on, follow him. There's a cool scene where they're breaking into the cartel's home, which shows how powerful mutants are, right? Like generally, when you think of cartels, you think of the biggest fucking threat, right? They're cutthroat. They will kill, and it's basically the end for you, right? If you try to fuck with them. But under these circumstances, like Lorna and Dreamer go there and it's no problem for them. Lorna's not even afraid, not an ounce of fear. They try to shoot her. She stops the bullets. She uses the guns to kind of strangle them. Awesome. Perfect. Their use of Lorna is really satisfying. I fucking love Lorna. I always have. And seeing her come to life in such a powerful, fleshed out way is really satisfying, and I cannot wait until they link her to this guy over here, because they have to link her to this guy over here, because they mention the X-Men, they mention magnetism, the power of magnetism, like, hello, he's her daughter. Let's fucking go there. Let's go there. Let's bring Ian McKellen in too. That'd be fucking awesome. God damn it, that'd be awesome. But, you know, we'll see. It is a bit, of an excursion into fantasy, as it were, but you know we'll see. You know, things can go well. Things are going well, and so they can go even better. Yeah, so I like that whole thing, and then how it all kind of played out, and then it kind of ultimately wound up like kind of creating a fissure between the characters, which is cool. You know, it's deserved. It's deserved, but let's not take it too far, because I mean it's very clear what he was doing and why he was doing it. But anyway. Cool stuff. The stuff with the family and the kid that they discovered through the hard drive to be kind of a criminal was all right. You know, it was a little bit too kind of CW drama for me, but cool nonetheless. Like, I accepted it. Like, you got these kids, there's going to be some kid drama. Hey, let's go with it. You know, there's some teenagers watching this show. They deserve a little bit of identification with the children. And so, why not? So, cool. The thing that was very cool about that whole situation was one, Sage kind of using her power to interact with technology in a very sophisticated way. Dope. And then that kind of led to the revelation that Trask Industries was actually behind a lot of what was going on. And Trask Industries is still around, maybe not around. So the Strucker father, reveals that his father worked for Trask, but Trask was the Trask Industries was dismantled in 2006. 2006 is around the time that X-Men 3 took place, and I know that in Days of Future Past things realigned and X-Men 3 basically didn't happen, fortunately, because that movie is fucking terrible and everything that happened in it was horrible, except for certain sequences which were pretty cool. But I won't talk about that. I'm the juggernaut bitch. God. Don't you know who I am? I'm the juggernaut, bitch! I mean, come on. Alright, I'm over it. I'm not over it. I'll never get over it. Never. Never. And that motherfucker Brett Ratner with his bullshit, fucking with Ellen Page. But anyway, moving on from that stuff. Anyway, 2006 is around when X-Men 3 took place. So if the realities realigned and Trask Industries did exist in the past and kind of somehow led into the future, this again could be another sign that this is very clearly taking place in the reality post Days of Future Past, linking it to the Logan reality as well, which is interesting. Now, whether or not Trask Industries still exists or not is of interest. Are we going to see Trask? Because that would be really fucking cool. The guy, damn, I can't remember his name. In Game of Thrones, the guy that played Trask, I fucking love him too. Tyrion. Shit, I can't remember his name. Anyway, he should pop up. He's a television actor as well. Like, why the fuck not? Bring him in. Make him be the big fucking bad of maybe not this season, but next season, you know? Kind of show him at the end of this season and then, like, have him be the big bad in the next season. Because they only have 6 episodes of Game of Thrones to shoot. Like, after that, he could fucking jump on this show and become a regular cast member. I hope. Come on now. Let that happen. Anyway, so that was interesting. The stuff that was going on in Sentinel Services was really fucking intriguing. I really liked this chick that came in from Department of Justice. I was like, all right, we got a powerhouse member of the government. She's going to provide some oversight. This like rogue sect that's like going after my mutants. She's gonna try to curtail their efforts. And no, fucking Dr. Campbell used one of his fucking mutants to cause her to fucking have a stroke and fuck with her, and that really pissed me off. But it was cool. It was a cool kind of like story beat that got us to a point where it's like, okay, well, it's not the government itself is not the villain. It's like certain elements within the government, right? And like there are people within the government that might be able to stop them, and so that's a good thing. Like there was mentioned that like other Department of Justice personnel will come after them eventually, but Dr. Campbell felt confident that whatever his plan is will be executed before that, which is interesting. That means that a lot is going to happen soon, and so all of that, of course, led to the sort of revelation that his hounds, he actually called them hounds, these like mutants under his control, are now going to be put into ideally the mutant underground as spies, and maybe kind of reveal the location and like basically make them vulnerable enough to become a target and be able to have them be imprisoned, eradicated, whatever. Obviously this is all leading to that. So I don't think the mutant underground location that we're at throughout the season is going to last beyond this season. I think that we're going to get a big fucking dramatic climax where it's just everything falls apart. But we're going to see a lot of shows of power then, which is very exciting. But also unfortunate, I'm sure people will die. So anyway, but it definitely gives us the kind of stakes that you want in this kind of show, where there's like important people that we care about that are now going to be in danger and potentially dead. And so that's again like that's more than just like the X-Men being interesting. That's like the show actually building up interesting story arc and characters, which is great. That means it's being successful in what it should be doing. We also had that story arc with the subplot with Thunderbird and Blink, sort of kind of first Thunderbird searching out Blink, finding her, and then helping her to figure out, well, why was she opening up the portal in that particular road that she opened up the portal to, which was always something that I kind of questioned when it was happening. I was like, well, that's an arbitrary place to be opening a portal to, when she was kind of freaking out and her powers were out of control. But now it turns out that it's of relevance to her. Like it's close to like this group home that she grew up in, where she was being sort of taken care of by people that were taking care of young mutants and harboring them essentially and trying to protect them. Unfortunately, because of Blink's efforts, it led the Sentinel Services to that place, and apparently they killed everybody or took a lot of them. Maybe some of them are these hounds now. We'll see later. But it definitely finally gives Blink a reason to join the underground. Not only does she no longer have this home that maybe she was wanting to go back to, but she is now she's got a fire lit under her, right? She's got a reason to want to go after the Sentinel Services and to maybe support this group of mutants that she's started to get to know as family, and ultimately become part of that family. So that's cool. So given that there are no X-Men, like it's important that there are groups of mutants that are tight, that are powerful, that can do the job of the X-Men. So they are essentially the X-Men of this world if there are indeed no X-Men. But again, that has yet to be completely solidified as truth. We'll see what happens there. Anyway, overall, really like this episode. Enjoying what's going on with the season. Looking forward to seeing more, and I'll be talking about it more next week. So as always, I want to thank you for checking out my video. If you haven't already done so, you can push that little button down there. That little button says subscribe. Just touch it. Just touch it really, really gently, and you'll be subscribed to my channel. You can keep up with my reviews as they come out. I'll be doing a Justice League review this week. Fingers crossed that that's a good film. We'll see. Yeah, as always, I want to remind you, if you haven't already, you better put an X in that box, ladies and gentlemen, because ain't nobody checking me. Bye-bye.